Monroe Hudson?
Yep.
I guess you know who I am. Are you the champion in here?
Yeah.
Not the heavyweight champ.
Champion. Heavyweight or any other kind, they got it.
Ed has the opportunity to do something. He has the opportunity to obstruct, to stand in between Andy and fantasy supremacy. Andy, of course, is the 2021 champion. He is defending his championship quite admirably. Barf. Barf. I just threw up, excuse me. Defending his championship quite admirably. He's here. He's ready to win again, and Ed has the opportunity to stop that because, and I want to correct Eric, who, when discussing the championship with Andy, Andy had given Eric some sort of figure, and Andy, is Andy, so he's a bit retarded, while actually trying to be analytical, so it doesn't really work out in his brain. So he just has a fart, and then he just throws out 7 years, and he said that I said that mathematically he wasn't going to win until 7 years. No! The 7 years that you are correlating to what I said to you are the 7 years that it took Team Bundy to win 3 championships. 2010, 2012, 2017. It took us 7 seasons to win 3 championships. And Andy has the opportunity in this playoff year to topple that, to win 3 in 3 years. 3 in 4 years. Andy won 2019, Eric won 2020, Andy, right, 4 years. So Ed has the opportunity to really do something. Never mind me. Don't pay attention to me. Ed, look the other way. Look the other way. Yes, you beat me in 2015. But what's important to remember, and I don't always present every single item that I get a hold of when I dig into the papers. But in 2017, en route to my 3rd fantasy championship, I eliminated Ed in the 2nd round. Sorry, that's Netflix in the background. In the 2nd round, 110-75. I was then Team Peggy. And then I got my name back because I shit on Paul. I shit on Paul's chest like he was a IG model on his way to Dubai. I got my name back. So don't worry about me, Ed. I've got our matchup won here. I've got our history kind of, I've dominated you so far. So let's discuss the history between you and Andy. You've had 11 regular season games since the 2015 season, which is, of course, when Ed was inserted back into the season. Andy has won that matchup so far 6-5. They also have no playoff matchups. History aside, what really matters here? Well, as we did with the matchup between Dro and Eric, we will dive into their Week 13 matchup where Andy defeated Acknowledge Me 94-92. This was just a couple of weeks ago. Lamar Jackson gets hurt. Devontae Adams goes off for 29 points. On the other side, you had Tua. Didn't do Tua much, scoring 13 points. And Dameon Pierce scoring 9. Dameon Pierce is truly he's a character for Ed this season because he started off being sort of a number 2 with the possibility of being a number one running back. He is, of course, is a rookie. He's with the Texans. You don't know what kind of a ceiling there is there because the offense is so weak. But over the past few weeks, he wasn't producing that well. And of course, he got hurt just last week. In this week 13 matchups, he was able to score 9 points, 18 from Josh Jacobs, 20 from Tyreek Hill, but still losing by 2 points to Andy, who didn't even have Lamar Jackson. He gave Andy a 0. He wasn't even able to score one single point, and he still defeated Ed. But Dameon Pierce is important because he's injured. He's gone. Ed has several injuries this week. He has Deebo Samuel, who is also injured. He has Dallas Goedert, who is coming back, but is coming off of IR. Maybe he'll be able to have a normal game. But this was more to the point of what I said about Ed earlier in the season before we made the trade, because obviously now his running back situation is a lot better with the addition of Josh Jacobs. Is Ed doesn't have any depth on his squad. He doesn't have any depth. I'll get into the lineup this particular week. But in this week, Andy won the game, getting a huge performance from Devontae Adams, getting a not so great performance out of his two running backs, Nick Chubb and Miles Sanders, but defeating Ed nonetheless. Let's get to their actual matchup here, which you had Andy putting his kicker out there just yesterday. Jason Myers scoring 9 points. That's a pretty good start for Andy. And Andy's playing games here because he's got James Cook in the slot. He's got Jerick McKinnon for the Kansas City Chiefs in the slot as well. Andy obviously isn't going to start them. He will start Nick Chubb. He will start Miles Sanders, Keenan Allen, of course. So Andy's team, I'd say, has the advantage in this situation because Ed, with his injuries, is left out here depending on Jets running backs. Now, I understand that Ed struck lightning in a bottle and that other rookie got hurt. He'll be back next year. We don't give a fuck about him. Who cares? He's a Jet. Now, he's got Zonovan Knight, who's out here, and he's had, 69 yards week 12, 90 week 13, 71, scoring 9, 11, and 13 points. So he might be able to get some mid-level production from him. Josh Jacobs is going to have a monster. This is what I will say. In order for Ed to win this matchup, Josh Jacobs is going to have a monster performance because Tua, since the trade, has been a bit of a disappointment for Ed. And even though I have all the best intentions in the world of making good trades, I do enjoy trading a player to you, and he's a quarterback, and you have some of his backups. And of course, Ed's Kyler Murray situation went completely to shit as well, but he still managed to keep Tom Brady on his bench. I just love the fact that I am able to add some confusion to your team. But Tua, I think, also needs to put in a impressive performance. He doesn't need to go monster. Maybe he's not capable of going monster. Who knows how this game is going to work its way out against the Buffalo Bills. But Ed is going to need his number one running back to perform like a number one running back. I can only assume that Andy's running backs will improve from what they were able to produce, or what they weren't able really to produce in week 13, scoring both under double digits. So Nick Chubb, Miles Sanders, who, by the way, scored 27 points last week, is going to go out there for Andy. Andy's main concern would, of course, be Jared Goff, who got 25 points last week against Team Bundy, but now he is facing those very same New York Jets, who is Ed's chosen defense, a very solid defense. That's going to be a game to watch. Any pick sixes, any sacks, that could be the only thing that could slow Andy down possibly. I don't see Jared Goff scoring 28, 25 points against the Jets defense. Andy doesn't necessarily need that. Of course, he scored 0 points with Lamar Jackson just weeks ago. I think Andy needs a 17 to 20 point performance, I think would do it. So, Highlander Part 2 will advance to the second round. Unfortunately, I say that. Unfortunately, Andy will advance to the second round, partly because Ed's team is falling apart, kind of like I knew they would. Odell Beckham Jr. isn't coming back, or at least he's not coming back to be able to help you. As a matter of fact, there is something in his in his recent news that sort of indicates that a team would want him to practice 2 weeks before he even gets onto the field. So you can only assume that he's not going to be relevant as far as fantasy. He could join the Cowboys for the very last 2 weeks of the season and make it a pretty entertaining playoff. But for fantasy, no one gives a shit. Merry